You can go ahead and start. Thank you, Rosalind.
Oh, you're welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rosalind Putman. I am a supervisory business opportunity specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration in the Illinois District Office. Today, I'll be speaking to you about marketing and selling to the federal government. But I want to take this time to thank the City of Chicago, Department of Procurement Services, for allowing me to participate in their 2020 vendor fair. Thanks so much, Jackie. I'm going to start now. We're going to talk about marketing and selling to the federal government. The course objective, we're going to talk about government contracting suitability, how the government buys goods and services, marketing your business and identifying federal opportunities, prime and subcontracting, and how the government can help. Okay. Are you a small business? Are you a small business? So this is there could be various people on the webinar, but I just want to talk about being a small business. SBA identifies small businesses by their NAICS codes. We say NAICS codes. And if you are a service or construction industry, then in the construction or service industry, then size is determined by your revenues, your 3-year average revenues. If you are in the manufacturing and wholesaling, then size is determined by employee based. Okay, and I guess I should have put that on the screen. Okay, as you can see on the screen, size is determined by your NAICS codes, and I gave you a little bit about that. Your business type and your location. Size restrictions, the average number of employees. I kind of got a little ahead of myself before everything came up on the screen. So I kind of went through that already. Nonprofit organizations are not considered for these programs. Okay, all right. Do you know your NAICS code? Your NAICS code is a 6-digit identification code, how the government identifies your industry. And I told you already how size is determined. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. When you do these things, you kind of get ahead of yourself sometime. So now we're going to talk about a traditional business plan. It's important for small businesses to have a business plan. A business plan kind of directs you on where you're going. Your company information executive summary, and that tells what your company is and why it is successful. Your structure, that information is about how you describe your company. Then your market analysis gives an understanding of your industry outlook and target market. Your organizational and management overall company structure, who will run it. Your service and product line describes what you sell or offer. Marketing and sales describe how you will attract and retain customers, and your financial projections provide the financial outlook for the next 5 years. This is key. Again, a business plan gives you direction on where you're going and kind of how to get there. You're kind of putting that in place, how to get there. Do you have the adequate cash flow to finance a government contract? Do you have the character? Do you demonstrate strength of character? Do you have the cash flow? If you need a loan to repay a loan, do you have the collateral? Lenders are looking for collateral to collateralize your loan. Capitalization. Do you have capitalization plus liquid holdings and earnings? Are there outside conditions that will affect your ability to repay a loan? So these are kind of key things that you have to ask yourself to be able to finance a government contract. Is your business ready? Is your business ready? Do you have systems in place to handle a government contract? Do you have the capital, the time, the staffing, materials, and reporting systems? What is your ramp up time if you receive a contract? Can you act on it immediately? Do you have an existing relationship with the lender or institution or bank? I always suggest that firms start with their bank of account. Can you meet eligibility requirements such as insurance and bonding? Do you have an accounting system? Avoid unnecessary costs. Operate efficiently. Required by law, you're required by law to track assets and taxable income on government contracts. Do you have the federal, state, and local government contracting experience? Your ability to compete in the federal marketplace is greatly influenced by your experience. Of course, how do I get that experience? A lot of times experience is gathered from working as a subcontractor. Do you have available cash, regardless of whether it is in your pocket or bank account or investment, that you can convert in 90 days? Does the government buy what you sell? Do your research. Identify 2 to 3 government agencies that buy your product or service. Do you know where to find government contracts? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. A lot of times small businesses want to sell to everybody, and that's not always the case. So you should definitely streamline a few agencies at one time. 2 to 3 is a good number. The government-wide contracting goals. The government is the largest buyer of goods and services. The government spends over $500 billion a year, but there's a 23% federal contracting dollars that are intended for small businesses. And there are various contracts. First contract is considered full and open competition. That's where everybody can compete, large and small. Then there are your small business set-aside contracts. And then there are sole source. So under the full and open, again, like I said, full and open is a playing field for everyone, large and small businesses. Set-asides, you have the rule of 2, at least 2 small businesses. They'll look at least 2 small businesses for that particular procurement. Of course, there's subcontracting limitations. And then there's a sole source. Under our 8A program, small businesses can be sole source procurement contracts up to 4.5 million without competition. So that's kind of a benefit that firms like to, they would love to have a contract that you don't have to compete on. Okay, so then we're going to talk about the set-aside programs. So here's our various set-aside programs. We have the Women-Owned Small Business Contracting Program. Government has to spend at least 5% with women. Then we have the Small Disadvantaged Businesses, where the 8A program, they're included under Small Disadvantaged Businesses, as well as your total small business set-aside contracts as well. Then we have the hub zone businesses, where the government has to spend at least 3% with hub zone firms and at least 3% with your service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. So set-asides are reserved for small businesses between $3,500 and up to $250,000 under the simplified acquisition threshold. So again, the government spends at least 23% with small businesses in those respective categories. Now, micro purchases. Now, those are your government used with your government purchase credit cards, and those are for procurements under $3,500. We talked about the simplified acquisition process and that amount. Those are from $3,500 to $250,000. And the government operates under various contracting. There's the sealed bidding, and then there's contract by negotiation. Sealed bidding is you kind of put your bid in an envelope and hand it in. Contract by negotiation is when you actually negotiate directly with the contracting officer. And there's various types of contracts. There's the IDIQ contract. There's time and materials contract. Then there is the incentive contract. Mostly the government kind of use your IDIQ contracts are generally your longer term contract, maybe like base year and base in 3 to 4 years. Your fixed price is the one that is mostly used by the government all the time. And then you have your call under the fixed price, you have economic price and incentive contract. And under cost reimbursement, there are payments of allowed incurred costs. Okay. And these are some basic agreements that the government uses. Basic order and agreement is not a contract, but it expedites contract for uncertain requirements. And then you have your blanket purchase agreement, which is a method of filling anticipated repetitive needs for supplies and services. So something that's needed on a regular basis from an agency, a blanket purchase agreement would be used by the government. Marking your business and identifying federal opportunities. So we're going to talk about researching your market. Okay. Again, I talked about kind of streamlining your contract search to certain agencies. So you want to know what agencies buy your product and service. You want to know that. Then you want to find your niche. What is exclusive to your business? That's your niche. Understand areas of government contracting spending. The government spends, you can go to usaspending.gov. You will see where they're spending. Your federal procurement data service, and you will see contracts there where contracts have been awarded, who has those contracts, who's had them, who has them. Know your competition and their contracts. You want to know, you want to make sure that you be abreast of that. You want to understand your customer. Who is your customers? Who are the influencers? The influencers are your program managers and high-level decision makers. Your small business specialists. Those would be your small business liaisons for those respective agencies. Your ISTABU representatives for respective agencies. Your SBA point of contact would be your business opportunities specialists, people like myself, and your PCRs, procurement center representatives that are assigned to respective agencies, and they are an advocate for small businesses. And then your buyers, those are the contracting officers. And your end user is the customer, which is the staff who uses the service or product. So when you are in a position to have a meeting or meet with a federal representative, whether it's a small business liaison person, or if you're lucky enough to get with a contracting officer or with a ISTABU representative, be familiar with the agency you are targeting. Do your research on that agency. Be prepared to deliver a concise elevator speech. You want to be quick, but you want to touch on key points. Present a business card with your certifications, whatever certifications that you have, make sure you have that listed on your business card. Have a capability statement including your NAICS code. You can have, in the government, again, like I said, the NAICS code identifies your industry. Every small business has a primary code, and you can also have secondary related codes to that primary code. Then you want to have a capability statement. What is a capability statement? It's kind of a resume of your business. That's exactly what a capability statement is, a resume of your business. The proof of qualifications, that's the purpose. It's your marketing tool. What is it? Again, like I said, it's your business resume, a relationship builder. How do you use it? You can use it to being a prime, or you can team up with another company and go after projects. That's a great way to use it. A part of a source of salt. A source of salt. So when the government advertises for opportunities, they put out what is called source of salt, and that's how they do their market research when they're looking for various companies to see how they're going to actually procure that requirement. And they could be looking under your social economic programs or total small business, which would be your 8A. It would be your hub zone. It could be your women on, or they can request for information response where you'd have to respond back to them. So here's some core elements of a capability statement. You want to have, what's the title? Include your logo on that. Have your corporate data, where you're located. Your company data should include your financial stability, the number of employees, your DUNS, your CAGE, your NAICS codes, if you're on the GSA schedule, any past performances that you've done. Of course, you want it to be, the best things that you've done. You want to make sure that, the customer was satisfied with your performance. And that's the kind of past performance you want to have on your capability statements. Unique features. Like I said, what makes you unique? What sets you apart from everybody else? That should be in your capability statements. What is the benefit of going with your company? Do you have any social economic certifications like the 8A, the WSB, Hub Zone? If you are a construction company, what's your bonding capacity? These are things that should be incorporated in your capability statement. So this is kind of a kind of a picture, if you will, of capability tips for building a better capability statement. Make it visual and appealing. When you look at this, it's like you go, wow. Have your link attached to it. Use bullets, tablets, and highlighted sections. Solicit feedback. Make sure you check your grammar and spelling. Make sure everything is good with that. Concise current information. And you can have a capability statement for different organizations, if you will. So if you're seeking to do business with the government, you want your capability statement, you want to be using government language. If you're doing something with the city, you want to use city language, or the county, whatever you use. Or if you're with a commercial company, then you want to use the appropriate language. Okay. So again, when you're going to meet with someone, here's some key to successful meeting. You request a meeting. Make sure you've done your homework. Give specific reasons for your meeting. You're coming in, you want to introduce yourself. You want to have that capability statement. You want to talk about what sets you apart. You want them to know that you know something about the agency. You want to conduct a pre-meeting research. Keep track of your past, current, and future opportunities. Then you want to have a post-meeting after a contract. If you made promises at meetings, keep them. Write a note of thanks. Ask them to share information. This is key. You want to have a successful meeting and moving forward. Now, the government actually buys in quarters. So right now we are in our first quarter, and our fiscal year is October 1 through September 30th. So quarter one, you're raising awareness and building relationships with agencies. Quarter two, which is from January to June, you lead generation campaigns and response. You're working with the agencies. Usually that last quarter is when the government spends the majority of their money. That last quarter. With COVID, things were a little different. I think agencies were afraid, and just, things were different this year. But generally, that fourth quarter is the quarter where they are trying to get those last minute offers in, and for under the 8A program, what happens a lot is because under the 8A program, they can go directly to the firm, then they don't have to have that they don't have to compete it. So they can go directly to that firm. So that's a good program. I'm putting that plug in for the 8A program. We're not going to speak on that today due to our time. But yeah, the fourth quarter is a key quarter for government spending. We talk about speak the government language. Rework your message. Make sure you ask questions. List contract vehicles. Stress contracting expertise. Proof your message. How to find the decision makers. You call, you make appointments. Now, the government advertises all of, I believe it's the next slide, but they advertise via beta.sam.gov. So that's where all federal contracts over 25,000 is listed. Network and contact the small business specialists. Like I mentioned earlier, the government has kind of like a in-between person between you and the contracting office contracting officer would be your small business specialist. Submit an invitation to bid. Okay. So then there's the prime and the subcontractors. Under the 8A program, you are a prime contractor on contracts, but always consider subcontracting with a prime contractor. That's where you gain your experience. You building capacity. You can work with a prime via a teaming agreement, a joint venture, or mentor protege. Enhance your past performance, gain experience, expand opportunities. This is how the government can help. We have resources, our procurement technical assistance centers. You have, of course, SBA. You have our marketing resources are your, again, like I said, if you're looking for contract opportunities, where you search is beta.sam.gov. It replaced fbo.gov. All federal procurement over 25,000, that's where it's listed. The federal procurement data system, that's where you can search current and past contracts. Systems for award management. Every small business and large business, if you're going to do business with the government, you have to be registered in this database. It's www.sam.gov. Dynamic Small Business Search System, that is SBA's database that we maintain of small businesses. And also we have a subcontracting network system too, where small businesses can actually reach out to prime contractors. And that's called Subnet. Other resources I mentioned, the USA Spending, GSA has a subcontracting directory, DOD prime contracting directory. These are just some resources for you. I think we're gonna put some email addresses, web addresses, I'm sorry, in the chat. I sent them earlier. Okay, so I'm not sure.
We're gonna post that.
Okay.
Do you have many more slides? Because I gotta get to Richard.
I'm almost at the end. At the end. I actually talked a little bit about SAMS already. I said this is a database that all small businesses have to register in to do business with the government. And one of the main reasons is this is the way the government pays you, not the old-fashioned way with checks. And again, the government does pay in 15 days. Okay. We talked about beta.sam.gov. Get to work, submit your bid, find a promising opportunity, submit your bid and wait. Request a debriefing if you do not get a contract, and even if you get one. You want to know where your strengths are and your weaknesses. Okay. All right, here we go. Where to go for help. Here's my information. Rosalind Putman, SBA 312-353-5428. And then we'll put my email address in the chat as well. And that concludes my presentation, Ms. Jackie.
Thank you, Ms. Rosalind.
You're welcome.
I am going to throw it over to Richard.
Hello there. How we doing, everybody? I know we're Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. For some reason,
I
it's
think you were counteracting each other, but I was putting you on and you were putting yourself off.
got it. Okay. Great. Well, great job, Rosalind. And thank you, Jackie. And thank you to the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services and all of our great colleagues over there. My name is Rich Martinez. I'm a Senior Diversity Officer in the Diversity section for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And Jackie, can you guys see my slideshow? My PowerPoint?
We cannot.
Okay, so let's see. That's why. And let's do this.
There we go.
All right, now we're in business.
Yeah, if you can just maximize it, you'll be fine.
All right, hang on a second. Trying to see where.
You can go to slideshow. And then when you click on slideshow,
hang on a second. I'm looking for slideshow here. Where are we at?
at the top at the
Oh, got it. Okay, and then we're gonna do which
Start show. Yeah, start show.
this one?
I can't see which.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Present online. Is that the one we want?
Yes, that's right. That's
Go from the beginning, Richard. Hit from the beginning. There you go.
How's that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't
Awesome.
see your screen. Thank you.
All right. All right. You guys can see me and you can see my screen. And we're ready to go. I'm going to walk you guys through my PowerPoint presentation, how to do business here at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And is this thing moving? There we go. All right, great. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, not to be confused with our friends over at the City of Chicago Water Department and Department of Water Management. Our mission statement of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District is protect the health and safety of the public in our service area, protect the quality of the water supply source, which is Lake Michigan, improve the quality of water in water courses in its service area, protect business and homes from flood damages, and manage water as a vital resource in our service area. And our service area is 883.5 square miles of Cook County. MWRD is committed to achieving the highest standards of excellence in fulfilling its mission. Some of you may be familiar with some of our plants and facilities, such as the O'Brien plant, in Skokie. We have a plant in Hanover Park. We have a plant in Schaumburg. We also have the world's largest wastewater treatment facility, which is in Stickney. And we do have a plant facility on the south side of Chicago off of 130th Street, which is the Calumet plant. With regards to the diversity section here at MWRD, formerly known as the Affirmative Action section, we were one of the first entities to implement an affirmative action program on government contracts going back to the mid to late 1970s. The purpose of our affirmative action program is to mitigate the present effects of discrimination based on race, ethnicity, or sex and opportunities to participate on the district's contracts and to achieve equitable utilization of MWS and also now VBEs in certifications and compliance. The mission is to ensure competitive and equal opportunities for minority-owned, women-owned, small business, and veteran-owned businesses in the award and performance of MWRD contracts. So at MWRD, the first port of entry to doing business with us is going to be to register as a vendor first via the district's website, which is mwrd.org, and I provided a link for you here for our online vendor registration. Once you get that, once you fill that and submit that to our procurement department, they will send you a vendor registration letter or number. And once you have that number, you can submit that number to me in addition with one of your other certifications as a minority-owned business, a women-owned business, or a veteran-owned business. And what we'll do then is here in the diversity section, we will give you a 1-year certification at face value, and we'll send you a letter for that. Now, I do want to distinguish that here at the district, it's a 2-step process. So, for example, just to get registered with us as an M or a W or a V, you get a 1-year certification. But in the event that you actually get listed on a district contract as a subcontractor or a subconsultant, we do have what we call our verification process. And that process is much more entailed. We ask for a lot more documentation as we go through and vet and verify your company. So I just want to make that distinction. There's the 1-year certification that you can get at face value, but once you are listed for the first time as a subcontractor on a district contract, there will be a thorough vetting and verification process. Now, typically our goals are applied to district contracts that are in excess of $100,000. And typically our goals will be 20% MBE, minority-owned business, 10% woman-owned business, 10% small business, and on varying contracts, a 3% veteran-owned business. And those are our typical goals, but they also vary on a contract-by-contract basis. One of the types of contracts that we have that we apply our goals to are called Intergovernmental Agreements, or IGAs. These are green infrastructure projects where we partner with either other government agencies. We've actually partnered with the City of Chicago's Department of Water Management in the past, and UIC and Cook County Forest Preserve projects on either stormwater management projects or green infrastructure projects, where the district will contribute a certain set amount, usually up to 15% of the total project, towards that. And we here in the diversity section, we monitor, we'll apply our goals to the district's portion of that project. But that also includes many, there's some of our projects that we've had in the past. This is our current map to show you where some of the projects are taking place. But these are still some projects that are yet to go out. And I do want to emphasize that these suburban municipalities and these villages, they're the ones who are responsible for putting these contracts out to bid. So whatever the district's portion of the contract and the affirmative action goals for our amounts, they're going to be specified in the contract documents. And we do monitor those contracts for compliance. We do ensure that these villages and these suburban municipalities ensure that their prime contractors meet our goals. And in the rare times that they don't, we'll actually withhold some of what's lacking on a dollar per dollar basis. So I do want you guys to understand that these projects are not bid out by the district, but they're bid out by these respective municipalities. So you'll want to go and look at online and visit some of these municipalities to see when some of these projects are going to be let. All right. These are some of our engineering projects from our engineering department. These are upcoming flood control, stormwater management, green infrastructure projects. For example, we have this one here at our Stickney plant. This is contract number 1814238. That tells you where it's at the Stickney plant. Estimated construction cost $1.8 million. This is the tentative award date. Tells you a little bit about the project, as well as this contract here. This one's actually already on the street, but we have some additional ones here. And these projects you can find online at the district's website, www.mwrd.org. It'll be in my final slide. So you'll be able to view that again, and you'll be able to click on doing business with us. And when you go to Procurement Services, you're going to see a number of these contracts that are currently being advertised or set to be advertised. So you'll see that some of the contracts here, for example, these here are from our engineering department. It'll tell you the start date, when they're going to go out for bid or for advertisement. Some of these, as you see, are going into the first quarter of 2021, and we do operate on a calendar, an annual calendar here. So these are, as you see, projects that are going to be let or advertised in the first quarter of 2021. So there's already a healthy amount of contracts going into next year. We also have RFPs. This is a current RFP that I believe is out on the street. This is 20 RFP 16 professional services to conduct facility needs studies for the Hanover Park and Lamont Water Reclamation Plant. Once again, you can find this information on our website under Doing Business with Us, under Procurement Services. Some updates. We are currently updating our affirmative action ordinance. And so we have just launched a disparity study. And so we'll be working on that going into 2021. We're also looking at policies for LGBTQ businesses and disabled-owned businesses. And in a minute here, I'll show you, we have a new online bidding system for those firms who are interested in bidding as prime contractors or prime consultants. And then we're also implementing a new online electronic monitoring compliance system called PRISM here in the diversity section. This is information with regards to our new electronic bidding system called Bonfire. And so there's some information here for those who are interested in bidding as prime contractors, prime consultants. Also want to mention, I'm sure it's one of the questions we get asked a lot with regards to construction, is it required that our contractors be union? And the answer to that is yes, we do have an MPLA, which is a multi-project labor agreement. And that is also available online at the district's website at www.mwrd.org. So I wanted to mention that. Also wanted to mention that we do have job order contracts called JOC, and those are the prime contractor for those. Those are smaller job orders that are not bid out. The prime contractor for that is McDonough Excavating. And so you'll see here PJ Spencer and our staff, she oversees both the JOC contracts and the professional services. So if you have questions about either of those, you can contact PJ Spencer through her email there. And I also wanted to mention that we'll be conducting our own virtual vendor fair in the first quarter of 2021, more than likely in the month of March. So you definitely want to get registered as a vendor with the district. If you're interested in, even RSVPing now, you can send me an email. So the diversity section is made up of our diversity administrator, Regina Berry. I handle the intergovernmental agreements, so anyone who has questions on those can contact me directly. And then, as I mentioned, PJ Spencer handles both the job order contracts and the professional services. So there's plenty of people to follow up with. If you have any questions or issues with regards to either the vendor registration process or becoming certified with us, you can contact me directly. We are a $1 billion agency. We do pay on time. We do pay, so normal payment time is 15 days once the primes get their payments from the district. I know it's another question that gets asked a lot. Do we pay? Yes, we do pay, and we do pay on time. So I think that is it for right now. Just to mention a couple of prime contractors on the construction side that do a lot of business with us. IHC Construction, FH Passion, and Independent Mechanical, they do a lot of work on the construction side. IHC and FH Passion on our engineering projects, Independent Mechanical on a lot of our maintenance and operation contracts. So once you guys become registered as a vendor and you get certified with us, then you're going to want to start to track contracts that are being let out. Normally, pre-COVID, We do have pre-bid conferences where primes and subs attend meetings to find out all of the legalities, specifics, and details of respective contract, including the affirmative action requirements. But in this COVID environment right now, we have not been conducting those, but we are expected to do something virtual in the future. But I cannot state enough or emphasize enough the importance for subcontractors, subconsultants to submit to prime contractors and prime consultants, but specifically those doing business with the district, your specific certifications that you have, qualifications that you have, and then requesting follow-ups and if able, in-person meetings, because as we all know, the competition is thick and heavy, and you want to be able to distinguish yourself from your competition. I don't think I have anything else at this time. I'm ready to take questions, Jackie.
Alrighty. So what we will do is we'll go through the question listing. The first question I think I have is for Rosalind, I believe. Do you have to have a federal certification to be a subcontractor? Or Richard, either one of you can answer that. Rosalind or Richard?
Sorry, I thought I had to. I'm sorry. I said no. I'm sorry, Jackie. No, you do not.
Okay. Thank you. The next question that we have, and I'm not sure if I really understand what the question is, but the person is basically saying that they missed the insurance payer this year, and they had some follow-up questions from last year. I don't know what the question is they're asking. That's all they said. So is there some way that they can get in contact with someone?
I'm not sure. I don't know anything about it. Insurance.
Payers.
Oh, I haven't.
If you have, if the writer can actually give more detail to their question, I'll go on to some questions and maybe we'll come back to that one if they have submitted something additional to whatever their question is. Yes? The next question is how come during the fourth quarter is when the government spends the most money? Why is it that the government spends the most money in the fourth quarter?
Well, one of the reasons I believe that they spend the most money in the last quarter is because a lot of times, you're sitting on money, holding things, and now you have to spend it because you can't carry it over.
Right, and for the person who is asking for to show the extra tip slide, Richard, I'm going to just put your mic on there. The person that's asking for the extra tip slide from Rosalind, this recording and this slide deck for both of our guest speakers will be up tomorrow at www.chicago.gov/vendor fair. So if you want to go there, you will be able to get that slide. Does the SBA train on how to respond to federal bids or assist in filling out the bid documents?
We do not, but our resource partners could assist you, procurement technical assistance centers. Some of them may be able to assist you with that, but we do not.
So I would suggest that you look up Illinois PTAC, and they have lots of them in the area. They could actually support you, and there are other ones that you can find as well. We also have some assist agencies in the buying plan at the back. I think Illinois PTAC is in there, as well as the SBD. What is it?
SBDC.
Yeah.
SBDC.
Yeah.
So if they go to our website, Jackie,
yes.
they can get all of that information. I sent that information to you earlier today. Yeah, so if they go to our website, sba.gov, just click on local resources, and they can actually put in wherever they are and put in put their information in, and a local P-tax should come up close to their area. But right now, everybody's virtual, so it doesn't really matter who you choose because everybody's virtual.
Right. Is a cage code similar to a next code used by the government?
The cage code is a code that is generated by SAM.gov, so it is not the same as a NAICS code. No.
All right. And for Richard, do you have to be headquartered in Illinois to do business with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District?
Normally, the answer is going to be yes. It depends on the type of work, though. So you could be headquartered in another location, but you're going to have to, especially if it's construction, you're going to have some kind of facility to be able to operate to do the work here in Chicagoland. Now, if you're professional services, that varies, but whoever's asking that question can contact me directly. Because I'm not familiar with their services, but I can walk them through that process.
Okay, and then we're asking also, is the Metro Reclamation, Water Reclamation District regional, and is it funded by federal government?
So we are regional in that we handle, all of Cook County. And then the question with regards to funding, we do get federal funding.
Okay. And this one is for Rosalind. So Rosalind spoke on programs briefly about what I am not sure I caught the name of it. Is it AA or ADA program? What do the abbreviations stand for?
It's the number 8A, named after Section 8A. It is the 8A Business Development Program. That's our government contracting program. Like the city, the state have their respective certification programs. That is your federal certification program. It's a one-time 9-year program.
Okay, and the question, I believe this is for Richard, I'm not sure. For stormwater projects handled by the municipalities, are those projects audited? I am a CPA looking for audit kind of work.
Well, those construction projects, I wouldn't say audited, but we monitor here at Diversity. We monitor those contracts for compliance with our affirmative action requirements. I'm not certain if that's answering their question, but we have our district engineers that monitor the work that's being conducted by the prime contractor for that municipality, and we handle the affirmative action requirement monitoring as it relates to the spend on our reimbursement towards that project. So it sounds like they're a professional services company. They could probably offer their services in another capacity, not necessarily on those particular types of projects.
All right, and I don't know if you gave this information, Richard. Do you have the point of contact at IHC and FH Passion regarding subcontracting at WBE suppliers?
Yeah, they can contact me directly, and I can follow up with them and give them the contact information.
Okay, and this is for Rosalind. What certification do you need to do business with federal? Oh, I think that one was already asked. With federal government. I don't know if it was asked or not.
You don't actually have to have a certification. There are contracts that are set aside that are called total small business set asides. So you just have to be a small business with that
Wonderful.
respective next code for that procurement opportunity.
All right, wonderful. And so the last parting words, I'm going to start with Rosalind first. If you have any tips or information that you want to leave them with, or something you might want to reiterate to our group here that's on this particular webinar, feel free to take these few minutes to do that. And last but not least, someone is asking for your email address.
Okay.
I did
I'll
put
give-
it in the chat, but they're asking for it.
Okay, I'll give it to them now. It's ROSALYN.PUTMAN@SBA.gov. The tip I would leave, Jackie, would be, since the government spends over $500 billion a year, I would suggest that you look into doing business with the government. However, you want to actually go to the beta.sam.gov to see if the government is actually buying what you're selling. And you don't have to just kind of limit yourself to the 8A program may not be for you, but we also have the Hub Zone contracting program. We also have, if you're a woman-owned company and you own at least 51% of the business, then there are contracts that are set aside under our women-owned small business program. And if you are a veteran, by all means, we're going to eventually have that certification too for the veterans. But right now, I would suggest if you're a veteran that you would seek opportunities out there as well, because there are contracts set aside for service-disabled veterans. And the first step would be, of course, making sure you register in sam.gov to do business with the government. That would be my advice to, and also finally, just make sure you reach out to a small business development center as well as a PTAC, because they too, being one of our resource partners, they can assist you in either searching for opportunities and just any kind of questions that you have related to, small business, and of course, SBA, because of course we were created for small businesses. So you can definitely reach out to us if it's just general questions related to business in general as well. Thank you again, Jackie.
Thank you so much, Rosalind, and thank you for imparting all that great information. Richard, if you would like to unmic yourself.
Sure. So my final tips are, visit our website, www.mwrd.org. Make sure you go to the Doing Business with Us, that you register as a vendor with Procurement and Materials Management, that you follow up with us in the diversity section with regards to your certification. And once again, my email is Martinez, MARTINEZR, @mwrd.org. And ask questions. There are no wrong questions. The more questions, the better.
Thank you so much, Richard. I want to thank our guests on behalf of the Department of Procurement Services and all the staff there. We would like to thank the Rosalind Putman from the United States Small Business Administration and Richard L. Martinez Jr. from Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. I say thank you for imparting all that great information. Thank you for being our last phenomenal workshop for today. It was a great 3 weeks. It was a great day, and this was the best workshop. And I also want to thank my colleague Rodney LeBeau for being my chat facilitator for the entire day. And I say to the participants, the attendees, research, ask questions, just reach out. We have the buying plan from the DPS website that in the back have assist agencies. It has all kinds of information in there to to help you. And I say to you, go out and go forth and hopefully attract all of the great opportunities that you can hold. Stay safe, stay well. And I say, wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask. And guess what? Next year, perhaps we can do this live and see you in person. If not, I kind of like the virtual thing. So if not, we will have more of these as well. We'll see you then. Thank you so much. And thank you, Richard and Rosalind. Take care and have a blessed holiday and a great rest of your week.
Thank you again, Jackie. Good night.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.